Welcome to Talkin the Gridiron, your ultimate destination for all things NFL. We're here to deep dive into the heart of football, breaking down the action, the strategies, and the stories that make the NFL so electrifying. From the Sunday showdowns to Monday Night Magic, we're covering every touchdown, tackle, and timeout. So grab your game day snacks, settle into your favorite chair, and join us as we navigate the highs and lows of the gridiron, where the game is always on and the conversation never stops.
We are back, Jimmy.
We are back. We are back. We are getting Doug back.
Season 3. We are
season way too
3.
much time with Doug.
Way too much.
The video game, like Doug and I have always had like a little bit of a contentious relationship, and the video game has not helped that. I will say it's a little frustrating. I love our boys over there in Ohio, and we're missing one of the three of us for tonight. But damn, he can get under my skin. He's good at that shit. I can tell you that.
He does have the what they call mouth of the north, I guess, not the south.
He doesn't even have to say anything. He just has to poach. He poached one of my 4-star receivers at the very end of recruiting, and then we played each other in the next season, and he dropped 4 50-yard bombs on me with that kid, and he knew it too. He knew that's the guy that he recruited that I was also going after, and I was like, "Oh, if you get up by 28, I'm just turning it off. I'm just letting you know. If you get up by more than 28, I'm calling my own mercy rule."
And as you know, hopefully Jordan will be joining us some point here with it. We are brought to you here, Variety Sports Network here on YouTube. Jimmy's got it out on his page, Twitter, me as well. Make sure you follow us there as X. Far Into the Bench doing good stuff. Fat Boy Fadeaway here as well. And like I said, Talking the Gridiron, Jimmy, season 3. Kind of funny to think about that. 2 years back, we've kind of covered the NFL on a weekly basis starting about this time of the year. So it's kind of crazy to look at that. We're on a journey again this year. We'll kind of see how that plays out moving forward too on these Sunday nights. Doing the live reactions was a lot of fun come playoff time last year. That Chiefs-Bills game, that was ridiculous last year. That was so much fun doing that as well. So we got that going on here, Talking the Gridiron too. And we got a little sub here for Jordy. He's been on the show before. Here we're gonna bring him on here. Brian, the main man Johnson here. You'll see him sometimes on Fat Boy Fadeaway TMB there at Tyler once in a while too here on Variety Sports Network. Other stuff there too. So Brian, thanks for joining us. We're gonna get into AFC top quarterbacks here. And Jimmy, I'm gonna bring up your list and we're gonna play off your list. I have mine kind of going at the bottom. Brian, you can give us your thoughts along the way here too. But I thought it'd be fun. Like, what are the top quarterbacks in the AFC right now? We'll do NFC next week, but this is just based on this conference. Who do you have? Again, this is Mr. Pilato's list. We're played off that a little bit, Brian.
Lamar's way too low. Way too.
He's a running back, Brian. He's a running back. Running back doesn't make top 5 of my quarterback list. Running back doesn't get you top 5 in the quarterback in the AFC.
He's a 2-time MVP.
Hey, at least he put him before Bo Nix.
Bo leave, baby. You're a WWE guy. Come on. I wish you were on the text message. I would have got you to pop with over half of these stuff. Rodgers with his heel. If Rodgers has his heel, I think we can see a heel turn from Aaron Rodgers. That, like I said, it's this was mainly. I didn't try and be analytical about this, but yeah, obviously there's a little bit of bias that I have. Lamar could be a little bit higher. Lamar could be right after Stroud. I don't think that you can put him any higher than anybody else on that list because they all have more playoff wins and probably have a playoff win over Lamar. If you go higher up,
Justin Herbert, the guy chokes in the playoff.
Well, I guess it was. It was Rivers. But no, Herbert's better than Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is a great football player. Lamar Jackson is not a quarterback. He is not a Super Bowl winning quarterback for sure. He has proven that time and time again. It might be different. I don't think that I don't have any qualms about where he is on my list.
It's kind of interesting. Lamar's the one that has to jump out to us, like winning the MVP, right, Brian? That he's puts that low on the list. I have him number. If
we're talking football players, I think it's different. If we're talking quarterbacks,
I got him number 4, so it's not. I got you. I'm not. It's not number 1. It's not number 2. Brian,
so you didn't put? Did you put Rodgers out of your top 5?
But I mean, I think you need to switch out for New England and put Drake May there, not Joe Milton.
Do you think May's going to get the job?
Yeah.
I don't know. What's that, Jimmy? Tomatoes, right? It doesn't matter.
Just come at me. I said Joe Milton, come at me because.
But I want to stay there with your. Let's stay with that energy there with what you guys were talking about with who's ranked ahead higher. There we go. I mean, I have Jackson 4. That's where I got him. I got Stroud 5 in that list. You got him right there too. So I have him ahead of Herbert. That was a tough one for me. Did you think Stroud could be higher on your list, or
I feel like if we go based on last season, Justin Herbert was injured a lot. If you take out the rest of the career and just go based on last season, yes, Stroud has had a better season last year. Obviously, more successful, one more games and one more playoff games. But it was a season where Easton Stick started at quarterback for the Chargers a majority of the games. Besides Justin Herbert, when Herbert was in there, he was taking a bunch of bullets, and they had a terrible head coaching situation. I don't know what it's going to look under the new guy, but Brandon Staley has. That last year of Brandon Staley was longer than he wanted to be there, was longer than the Chargers wanted him to be there. He was like, I should have got fired at the end of last season. I don't know why I'm still here and why they still force me to do these things that I'm clearly just not very good at. And Justin Herbert obviously struggled with that too. So if it's just based on last year, Stroud goes a lot higher. If it's based on what I have seen from these guys in the past, what I think they are probably on the verge of doing, what I think the guys have to prove, some of this is prove it. Like Herbert's in a prove it season. We got you a new coach. We got you an offensive line that can protect you. We got rid of all your offensive weapons. So now you got to prove that you're Peyton Manning, Tom Brady. Go make something out of nothing. We gave you chicken shit. Make some chicken salad. Like that's where Justin Herbert is. So if he does that, and I think that he's capable of doing that talent-wise, who knows? I think that the Chargers will be better than they were last season, just based off of the coaching staff alone. And I say that about the guy that I put after Lamar Jackson too. I think Bo Nix gets a little bit of a bump, and yes, it's been preseason football, but it's not necessarily what he does. I said it was about Sean Payton. People were so quick to jump down Sean Payton's throat last year. Russell Wilson sucked. Everybody wanted to avoid saying it. We wanted to look for a different 15 thing.
For a reason.
Awful. I don't think that he's going to win the starting spot. I don't think that he should be on this list. I should have put Justin Fields. I
had Fields ahead of him. Yeah,
I put Wilson and Fields. It's whoever wins that job. Like Russell Wilson was god awful. The Broncos are going to be better just for not having him there. And Sean Payton now finally gets to do what he wants to do. And this team looks different. They are 3-0 in the preseason, so they're probably going to go 0-17 because that's just what happens. But that's part of where I was on this list too. It's not just what I think.
No, I get you.
What last year was, but I think what they can be capable of. That's why Tua is not as high as some of the other guys on the list too.
Brian, I have on Jimmy's list.
I put Lamar Jackson ahead of Josh Allen, number 3.
So if you have Jackson there, where do you have? I was fascinated where you have whether you're a fan favorite, right? Aaron Rodgers. Jimmy has him 3. I have him number 7 on my list. Where do you have Aaron Rodgers?
Well, let's just say this. I made it a whole league thing, and I put him at 13.
So, and the whole league, he's 13. So that probably puts you right around 7, too, if you count the NFC. So you probably have him right around where I do. Well. Jimmy, the confidence in Aaron Rodgers?
I put him just ahead of Kirk Cousins at this point.
So do you think, you would rather have Lamar Jackson than Aaron Rodgers, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're both me and you on that kind of page there with it, Jimmy. Sorry on that one. Aaron Rodgers 3.
I just don't know how this whole thing's going to shake out with the Jets. I just have I have too many questions over answers.
There is a lot to be answered. Your brother's a Jets fan. Jimmy, explain. Aaron Rodgers 3. He's back from the Achilles?
I think that if he was healthy last season, we would have seen a much different season from the New York Jets, obviously. I'm not willing to, because even the last year in Green Bay, even though they weren't necessarily successful record-wise, it's not like he's forgotten how to play totally. If he can make it through a season, I think that he can be successful enough with the team that they have around him. I think last year would have been better because the defense was way better. But I think that, the Jets I think there's enough around the Jets that if they can figure that out, and that guy's been around long enough, I have faith that he can figure it out after an injury and get something out of nothing.
It's interesting looking when you sent me your list though, and can you give me some of your nicknames you had for some of these guys along the way too, though, please?
Well, Rodgers is Achilles. Rodgers has to be Achilles now. Tua is jujitsu. That was something from last year because he said he was doing jujitsu to try and make sure that he doesn't fall and crash his head on 5 different branches of the tree on the way down. So jujitsu. I believe
Burrow's the new Slim Shady. So
Slim Shicey. He said that he's going to let it grow out. So honestly, because we were going to put Slim Shiesty on a shirt for VSN where he said it's going to grow out and it'll be frosted tips. So now it's just going to be his hair, like a cat claw, because that's our thing for the Bengals, and then frosted tips underneath. It's the season of frosted tips.
Oh, that's so funny. That's funny. Who else? What else you got there?
Levi's jeans.
Yep, absolutely.
Out there in Tennessee. Because when you try and type Will Levis, it automatically goes to Levi's. I tried to send that text message. I had to retype it 4 different times. Like if autocorrect says it, it's got to be true. Plus, he said that he's going to make some kind of mayonnaise Oreo. You're not American.
Oh gosh,
like what is it with the white? You're white. We get it.
Mayonnaise Oreo. My gosh. All right, continue there. What do you give it? You got a couple others ones, right?
Let's see. Minshew and his jorts. I like Minshew and his jorts
That's
only.
a good one.
So if they change the rule where he doesn't have to wear his football pants, just put pads.
I'm
right
afraid
into
what you're going to say about Watson.
minus the rub and tug. Watson was at 11 minus the rub and tug. If he has the rub and tug, he's up there. Like I think I switch him and Rodgers if they allow him to get massages during the season.
Brian. Well, good call there ahead of time, knowing that, knowing Jimmy too well, and from that area there.
I could have also put something about Drake May visiting with Robert Kraft, but I decided to. I kept my gloves above the belt for that one.
Go ahead, Brian. What were you saying there?
In my opinion, until I can see Bo Nix do it on the field, I would definitely put Watson ahead of Nix and even put Minshew ahead of him.
Do you think Minshew could actually change the Raiders season a little bit here? Is there like any chance that he could? Can I believe in this guy? Like I keep saying, can he be the next Rich Gannon? Is there a chance? Like out of these guys that are not in the top,
that wouldn't be a good comparison. This is your Jameis Winston.
Okay, let me ask. Can I put this to you this way to you guys? Out of your guys that are not in the top 10, so I have Watson in my top 10. He's like my 10th. So I have, like I said, I have 10 Watson, 9 Lawrence, 8 Tua, Stroud, Herbert, and all the big guys like you already know. So out of like for me, Winfield, Levi's, Richardson, Fields, May, which one of those random guys, which was Stroud last year, could jump into the top 10 this year? If you had to pick a guy, who would it be? Think about that because that happens every year, right?
There will be somebody that overplays. I'm seeing one of those guys out of the
Rich Gannon.
No, he's not Rich Gannon because Rich Gannon was safe and Rich Gannon was smart and Rich Gannon won with his mind. You're in a good spot because did you expect much out of the Raiders this season, Darren?
Well, we'll get the predictions in a second, but yes, I do have them not necessarily dominating the league.
Then they're going to be at least fun to watch, and you're not going to be watching Aiden O'Connell check it down to his running back 15 times. You might see Minshew throw 2 or 3 interceptions, but he also might throw 2 or 3 50-yard bombs. I think he's the Jameis Winston of the Las Vegas Raiders this year, where it could be a 30-30 season where you're always going to be like, it's going to be 500 because he can't make enough good plays to outweigh his mistakes. Gardner Minshew has been like a devil here in Colorado. I don't know if I haven't looked up the stats specifically. I remember a couple times when he was here as the backup with the Jaguars, and he dominated the Broncos. And this was like 2 or 3 years removed from the Super Bowl, not the dead years that were like after DeMarcus Ware and Von Miller left. This was still a decent enough roster. He can do something. He's not gonna. I don't see him jumping up and being like he's a wild card quarterback at best. He's not a division champion quarterback.
I got to get better at not calling him.
Do you hear it, Casey? You're not winning 11 games. It's not happening.
My brother is strong on the Raiders. He likes
11 games with Gardner Minshew because of what? The jorts? Is that why?
Because Brian's a Niners fan. I think he just wants to pick against him. All right, hey, let's go to the big boys here. I had Mahomes, Allen, Burrow. That was the 3 I had in order. Is there a disagreement there? I mean, obviously, besides Jimmy, we already talked with Rodgers. Brian, are you the same?
I need to see Allen cut down his interceptions. Like
you have Allen 3?
Yeah,
or do you have 4 behind Lamar?
I have Allen 4 behind Lamar Jackson.
All right, so you have Lamar 3. Gotcha. Okay, so you have Allen. So Jimmy, you have Burrow 2. Obviously, Brian, you have Burrow the same there, and so I got Allen. I got Allen number 2. So. I don't know. Maybe it's fair. He's made the Super Bowl. Allen. I just feel like that loss last year wasn't necessarily on him. He really
Well,
played
you
well
can't
last
beat
year.
Mahomes. That's all the other quarterbacks. Actually, the other
They
quarterback,
had the ball on the 10-yard line with
the
10
other
seconds
quarterback
left.
that beat Mahomes to make it into the Super Bowl is Burrow. That's why I can sit here and confidently say that Mahomes is tried and true the best quarterback in the conference. And in order to be the second best quarterback in the conference, you have to be a guy that's beaten him in a significant game. And Burrow has a winning record against Mahomes.
But
I don't
man,
think that you can
is
put
he a
Josh
better
Allen there
quarterback,
because
though?
Josh Allen's hasn't beaten Mahomes in a playoff game.
How do you
He's played
lose
well.
How do you lose week one when Zach Wilson is your quarterback? I don't care about the. I still don't know how he lost that game.
Zach, brother, yeah, it was some motherly advice. He helped to get the win there. That's why he got there. He got some motherly advice.
He looked pretty good in the preseason today. Zach Wilson he's going to get some moms checking his DMs later tonight.
Allen, all right. So, I mean, I get it. You got the Bengals gear on there. Your Burrow's there. He's the guy.
The last team that Burrow dominated was Josh Allen and the Bills.
You're right. And a lot of and to your point there, I guess Chiefs fans, I bet if we did a poll of Chiefs fans, they would probably say the Bengals scare them more than the Bills, and that's probably just because of what you said. They beat them.
I think that they would say the Ravens scare them more than the Bills and maybe even the Bengals at this point because of what they did last. Like they lost in the AFC Championship game, but they were there. That's the first time that they've been there.
What do you think of Mahomes? Number one, obviously, let's spend a little time on the guy that's the king of the castle. He beat. God, what team did he beat in the Super Bowl last year? He beat the Niners.
That really annoying fan base from. They say San Francisco, but that's not even the city that they play.
No, they play in Santa Clara, which always cracks me up. It's like an hour away.
Isn't that the same city that the zombie housewife show was made about? Right? That was
right. All I know is Six Flags is there. It's a roller coaster park. That's where I know that we can go to.
And it's named after the Titans quarterback. That's the stadium's named after the Titans quarterback, Brian.
Oh, a little bad luck.
Levis,
yeah, we got there. That always crap. One of my favorite parts about the Niners stadium ever, I don't know why I remember this, is when Clemson won the national championship there. And it was like, literally after the game, and the lady interviews him, and he goes, I don't even know where we are in California. He's like, this isn't San Francisco, but I have no idea where we're at. Like, it was kind of funny. His like little shot he took at the, well, it's not San Francisco. You're still an hour away, but all right. So you got there with Mahomes though still. So he's number one. He's the beast. We talked about the big guys, like 3 in a row, like the pressure that he's under, like now, right? He just has the guy like every week.
Is he under pressure? I don't think that he's under. He doesn't look like he's playing with much pressure.
Don't you think when you're the top guy though, you always want to be on top, or you think it's now he doesn't? He knows he's there.
How else does he prove it? He's won back-to-back Super Bowls. He's beaten.
They didn't play good offense last year at the end. They were terrible offense last year.
But because
Kelsey,
they were, where were they? Why were they where they were? Was it because of a defense? No.
Yes.
Was it because
their defense was very good last year?
It was because Patrick Mahomes got the most out of the jack that they had in the receiver room and the tight ends. They had Travis Kelce, and that was it. He got the most out of the guys that were around him, and everybody else elevated. That's sometimes how it works. This guy they're still favorites to win the AFC. They will be the favorites to win the AFC every single season until they don't. Maybe they won't host the AFC Championship game, but I still think even if they're on the road, I have enough faith in that guy. I have enough faith in 15 with what I've seen him do, and now he's become the new boogeyman. I tried to deny it for years with Brady. I tried. This guy's way more talented. I can't ignore it.
I guess I could make a joke and say, well, they're at the top because Andy Reid makes a transfer to the referees every year. Ooh.
Is that out of the same fund for the DUI? The DUI bail money that he has? That's a low blow. I'm hurt people.
Both Brian was waiting on that one the whole offseason, and then Jimmy comes in with it even lower. Like I always tell my son this move, he has no idea from a wrestling standpoint. He loves wrestling, but like as we have 2 older brothers, they kind of get away from each other and start punching each other in areas they should, if you know what I mean. And I was like, China, like he's like, what do you mean? I was like, oh, that was the move. Should we It was funny to hear his little thoughts there with that.
He'll win the Intercontinental title that way, son.
He will. That's the way you could do it. So Watson, Lawrence, Tua. Let's go there with those three names. We didn't really spend much time on them. You did briefly mention Tua. You guys didn't believe in him, but Lawrence was under the same kind of like doubt. And then Watson, like I said, the Bears have a little curse. The Browns sometimes have a little curse at quarterback play. Nicknames aside here, like, what do you guys make of those three? I have them 8, 9, 10 on my order there. Looks like you got it a little different there. Jimmy, what do you kind of make as well there?
I see Trevor Lawrence in a situation. They paid him money. Tua's in the same situation, but I think Tua and the Dolphins will always have the fallback that if they don't host a playoff game, they're pretty much screwed because they can't deal with the adversity of the elements. I think it's always been that way. I don't remember them ever being a dominant road playoff team just because it's different weather. You can never deal with it. And when teams have to go there in the later time of the season, it's automatically a home field advantage. I just see Trevor Lawrence as a guy like he got the money. He's had the talent. He's been considered the number one guy in his class. If he doesn't make the step this year, I know that they didn't really do much to help him out, but that's what we've been talking about. If you pay a quarterback, you got to hope that he makes up for some warts. So if Trevor Lawrence doesn't make up for the warts this season, I can see Jacksonville being in a quarterback sweepstakes and Trevor Lawrence being looked at as another Carson Wentz type.
What do you think, Brian?
I'm just saying Miami had that, playing game the Sunday night, the last game of the season. They hosted that game, and I felt like Tua just fell on his face, and they did nothing.
He does that often. He hits his face often, quite a bit.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna say I don't know. In my opinion, I would put Trevor Lawrence in. I'd even put Deshaun over Tua at this point.
So Tua he led the league in passing last year. He was the number one passer last year. And when you guys are saying, I mean, I have him 8, which isn't necessarily showing him a ton of respect, but I at least have Lawrence. But you have him here this way. You have him the same way. You have Lawrence ahead of Tua. You really feel that, or like, I don't know, like
I'm looking at their schedule because on our show we haven't done the East preview yet, so I haven't looked back. But what I remember last year with the Dolphins, they beat the Broncos 70-20. But here's the wins that they had.
About that.
It's the one that stands out, and it's what honestly skewed most of their numbers. So what you just said about Tua kind of goes back to that same game. But their wins are against the Chargers, the Patriots, the Broncos, the Giants, the Panthers, the Patriots, the Raiders, the Jets, the Commanders, the Jets, the Cowboys. That's one team that was even close to the playoff conversation.
Oh, that's a good little lawyer debate there, Jimmy. Nice job throwing that card at me. Not bad there.
We hadn't looked at it yet, and I remember hearing that. Well, that was the Jets minus Achilles. They had the mommy missile at quarterback instead.
the mommy missile. That's good.
Do you think the Jets coach, if they don't make the playoffs, could get fired?
I think he was close to getting fired last season. I think the only thing that saved him is that they all looked at it and said, well, we didn't have Rodgers, so it would be kind of unfair. But
hey, I was going to say before we get into AFC predictions here, because that's where I want to go next, the last two names I wanted to throw at you guys here, and Jimmy, I appreciate your list here because we were able to play off it for about 30 minutes here. And what do you think, Jimmy, of these two names we didn't bring up? I guess you kind of brought them up a little bit. What was Anthony Richardson of the Colts and Justin Fields of the Steelers?
I did not put a Colts quarterback on here.
So what do you think of Anthony? It doesn't mean you had to. I mean, there's 15 there. You can saw. What do you think of Richardson? I think
Will Levis over Anthony Richardson.
I mean,
Anthony Richardson hasn't finished a single game in his NFL career.
That is true. That's why I'm just asking.
Not a single game. Now, the reports that I've heard is that apparently he bulked up from 240 to 260. So I think that we said it on this show, and I heard it plenty last season. Like, they have to either decide you're a running quarterback and we better put the muscle on you in order to make sure you stay safe, or we're going to turn you into a traditional, more like a Lamar Jackson where you're throwing at least a little bit of the time. I'm pretty sure he's a 60-40 run pass split. Like, I'm worried for the dude. If he can hold up, sure. Anthony Richardson can replace one of those guys at the bottom of the list. I have no issue taking Deshaun Watson off there because I don't like the Browns and I don't like Deshaun Watson. But I don't think that he's going to be in a position to finish it. Once he finishes an NFL game, I can't say that anymore, but I can say that until I'm proven incorrect.
This was a fun debate. I like this. I look forward to the NFC one when we have both have Brock Purdy at number 12 next year at the
he's going to be right around 10 because Brock Purdy is Bo
That's
Nix
okay.
minus
I
the
feel like
college
we have
transfer.
a couple of Nick Wrights on here.
At least you didn't call me Kendrick Perkins.
Yeah.
Because then I feel like he's taking a shot at my weight too, and then I'd have to get offended.
Kendrick Perkins, that's great, Brian. I love it.
I hope he sees this. I hope Brandon takes that and tries to get it at Kendrick Perkins. I tried to do that with Kevin Durant a couple weeks ago with our show. It didn't work.
I appreciate that with that. I want to get out our top 10s tomorrow, so I'm gonna get these out. So Brian, you're gonna text me yours as well. So I got mine there, just see what people think. We'll put that on the X world there. Go with it and see what people got. So that was a good conversation, guys. All right, let's go to AFC West predictions here. Then let's go. We'll just go with the division. Like, just give me the order of what you have. We'll keep it moving here as we go. I'll start it out. I got Chiefs 1. I got Chargers 2, Raiders 3, Broncos 4. That's the prediction I have. Brian, what do you have? And then I'm going to give Jimmy the last word to wrap the AFC West. So good, Brian.
I'm going to go Chiefs, Chargers, and then I'm going to go Broncos and then Raiders.
Wow, that. I would give it Casey. Go ahead, Jimmy. What do you got there?
I think your division standings are dripping with a little bit of bias there, Darren. I don't think that Antonio Pierce has as much culture established as Sean Payton does at this point. So yeah, I feel pretty confident saying that the Raiders will finish lower than the Broncos. I don't think that the Raiders will finish out this 14-0 streak this year against the Broncos. I don't think that's possible.
We have a good defense, though. Our defense is good. Max Crosby's going to ruin plays, and we own you, as you always say.
We'll just run to the other side because who do you have on the other end?
Brian, help me out. We just signed the guy from the
Wasn't
Dolphins
it Chandler Jones? And he's not there anymore, is it? Chandler Jones ain't there no more. And Pat Surtain is going to punch Devontae Adams in the face, and Minshew's not going to throw him the ball. No, there's a ton of ways that the Raiders will not sweep the Broncos this season. So I don't think the Broncos will finish last. I think on our show.
Come on, Raiders. Come on.
I think on our show I said Chiefs.
Let's go.
I think it's going to be Chiefs, Chargers, Broncos, Raiders. That's my final one.
The
Chiefs,
Chargers,
Broncos, Raiders.
Some people have the Chargers I've seen in like predictions where they're at like, I think maybe it's a hot take, I guess, but last place, and like Harbaugh. To me, Harbaugh is just too good of a coach to not have him ahead of those two teams.
It's that guy. And have you seen that Ben Powers dude, the new strength coach that they brought in there?
I have not seen Mr. Ben.
He is if you've ever read any of like the Stoic philosophy books that Ryan Holiday has put out recently, he is the tried and true definition of stoicism. He eats the same meal every day. He has not had a cheat meal in 35 years. He's like the less annoying version. He's the less annoying version of Derek from Step Brothers. He's like, I haven't had a carb since 06. You want to touch one of these abs, Kimosabi? And if you saw him on the sideline yesterday, they were just talking about him and he's just staring off into space like, how can I get these guys stronger, get these guys tougher? How?
The strength coaches are the most interesting. Well, who's that one video, the famous video of the Northwestern coach on ESPN?
The headbutt dude.
Brian, any last thoughts on the AFC West there? I mean, come on, the Raiders. Jimmy has them in last over the Broncos. I feel like the Bo Leave thing is a little much. What do you think?
They broke the streak against the Chiefs last year. They're bound to break the Raiders one eventually.
Come on. Come on, Brian.
Yeah,
settle the debate here.
I just don't see a lot out of Minshew, and I think Devontae Adams, according to Deshaun Jackson, his patience level is at 0 right now. So
we're down to there.
Devontae Adams is going to walk into the locker room, and Minshew's going to be in the locker room with a hammer, just like he was at Mississippi State. Darren, this is one of the stories I was telling you about. So this was before you could ask for the extra graduate year. Right. He wanted an extra year to play at Mississippi State. So he had a hammer. He was in his boxers, I think, is the story that was told. And he had his hand on his desk and he was trying to smash his right hand and say that he broke his hand in a practice so that he'd get an extra year medical red shirt and he'd get to stay at Mississippi State. If you're a college football guy and you know Mike Leach before he passed was on record saying Gardner Minshew was his favorite player that he's ever coached. Most like Mike Leach is I think the wording that was there.
I always find it funny, like you said, another wrestler, the Dom haircut. I feel like Dom stole it from him a little. The little, he's got the look good with the mustache there too.
He plays into the Uncle Rico so hard.
He does play into that. So we all have the Chiefs winning it. Little debate here with the bottom feeders. What do you think AFC South wise, guys? I got Houston winning it again. I have Indianapolis 2. I have the Jaguars 3, and I have the Titans 4. Brian, we'll go with you again. What do you got?
Yeah, I go Houston 1, but I'll go Jaguars 2, Indianapolis 3, and then Tennessee 4.
What do you think, Jimmy?
I was trying to give Tennessee a little bit of credit, but I don't see them. I said it on our show. I think they're in the middle of their rebuild, so I see them pretty comfortably staying at the 4th spot in the division. The Colts and Jaguars they were neck and neck last year. I think they're going to be really close again. The Texans might be able to win this division by more than just a game this year.
Yeah.
But the Jaguars and Colts, they both have guys, like I said, Anthony Richardson has to prove that he can finish games in the NFL, and Trevor Lawrence has to prove that he is the guy. He was considered the next Peyton Manning coming out of college, and he's getting paid like it now, but he's got the biggest choke job in professional football playoff history, and didn't even make the playoffs last season in a year where they started off. And last year at the beginning of the season, we all said Jacksonville should win the AFC South. They were the true lock. Nobody talked about Houston, and they blew that shot so quickly they didn't even have a chance to make the playoffs in that season.
Brian, what do you think of that? I thought Jimmy well said there with the breakdown.
I
I
don't know. It's just that they seem like they really underachieved last year, the Jags.
Lawrence, we both had him. We were debating him in the middle of the pack, like 8 or 9. Then he gets paid the big contract.
Do you think that he was hurt? Because there was a stretch in the middle of the season where he started to have way more turnovers and started to play worse, and it looked like he was trying to play through something. And I think they tried to come up with something towards the end of it. But I feel like a lot of teams do that just to justify how bad some quarterbacks play in the middle of the game sometimes.
Jimmy, let me get your thoughts on this real quick. Then we'll go to the North. Tyler, if you know from Fat Boy here, he made me and Brian talked about it today, so I just want to get your thoughts on it real quick. Because he said that the Texans have the 3 best wide receivers in the NFL if you put them together, like the combination of those 3. I mean, to me, it's like hard when you have Smith and who's the other guy, the dominant guy on the Eagles there. That was on the
Smith, AJ Brown.
Just guys there, and then you have the Niners with Samuel and Ayuk if he's there. Yeah, I'm just like, is that a crazy take, or
if you go 3 receivers?
When he said that, I was like, really? Those
3 receivers? Probably 3 receivers, because now the Bengals lost their triplets. They don't have the triplet receivers anymore. And if you expand it and go into the entire NFL, I would say that we had the conversation about Ayuk on the 49ers, but they don't have like 3 receivers that are their top 3 targets. They have 3 just weapons that are their top 3 targets. And I don't think that it goes to 3 receivers. I think it's Debo. I think it's Chris McCaffrey. I think it's Kittle or Juszczyk.
I would think the Niners have a better one than
Jennings. Jennings is definitely there. Yeah.
But how about you guys? You guys have Higgins and Chase. You don't have a third receiver.
That's 2. We don't have a third receiver established yet. I know the guys.
Is there 2 better than their 2 though? Is there 2 better than their 2?
Ever since Purdy took over, I don't think he's even thrown to Juszczyk.
But I mean, I'm just saying that even if you take like Chase and Higgins, if Chase and Higgins, they're 1 and 2, like that to me outdoes a little bit of the tech. Maybe I'm underrating the Texans receiving core. And that's what it sounds like. You're with Tyler a little bit on that. That's fair.
I think that if you classify it as receiver, I think that you can make the case that the Texans do have a really good receiving core. But I think adding in the weapons that other teams have besides just tried and true quote receivers, that's why the show was even a little bit convoluted, because they had George Kittle and they had other guys on there. If we're talking about just receivers that get paid to be the X, the Z,
I gotcha.
Then I think maybe possibly. I think that there's guys that will step up, and we'll see a lot of first and second year receivers make a name for themselves in the slot. But at this point, I think if you're just going based on receivers, the Texans do have guys that can make a difference. I don't know if they have the best running backs. We'll see what Mixon. I know that Mixon looks it's so weird to see him in something. No, it doesn't look good. Just looks weird. It looks weird to see him in anything other than that orange and black. It makes me sad to think about that. It might make them better, but they don't have the tight end.
That's funny.
I wonder who they're going to use in the middle of the field because Nico Collins isn't big enough. Tyler Boyd is, he's in Tennessee now. He was a guy that made a big name for himself in the slot. There's some guys that will step up. That's for sure.
Josh out here tuning in. He's got his NASCAR show here on VSN coming on in about a little bit here. So I know he said he'd be locking in on our show before he jumps on to a little NASCAR action here on Variety Sports there. If AR can figure out how not to get hurt, the Colts can take the division this year. Houston has a bit of a stumble this year. We'll finish second in the division. I got them second with the Colts, but Josh, as a Colts fan out there, being a little optimistic.
If they had the offensive line from like 3 seasons ago to protect Anthony Richardson, I'd give the Colts a lot more credit. I think they have some really talented offensive linemen. I just don't know.
They do.
Like their scheme is the reason why Anthony Richardson has not finished a game. It has nothing to do with the talent that they have around him.
What do you make of your AFC North? Let's go with you first on this one.
I put the Bengals. It'll be between them and the Ravens. I'm obviously going to give them the – who else? The Browns are not going to be up there.
No, I want to listen to you.
The Steelers are not going to be up there. It's going to be between the Bengals and the Ravens for the division championship. Two seasons ago when Burrow finished and played the entire season, we won the division championship. We beat them in the wild card round of the playoffs. Sam Hubbard had the 94-yard fumble return for the touchdown. I have to be very cautious in how I say this because I haven't had the ability to, and we will probably start the season off very poorly because we did the same exact thing preseason, did not do anything that I suggested last year and anything that I think would help. But we didn't play anybody. We will be in the conversation at the end of the season for the division championship with the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens will not run away with this division. And we will probably split, and we'll see who has the better record against the AFC. Over the last couple of seasons, it's been the Ravens. We've beaten up on the NFC a lot more. But no bones about it. We have to take care of business in our division. We didn't do that last season. We had an injured quarterback for a majority of it. When Burrow was healthy, we still looked deadly. We can do some things this year. We'll be slept on. That's fine. We can get laughed at when we get put top 2 in the division, and then Burrow will come back, make sure that
Slim Shady. Yeah, he
will be back. It's going to be funny. It's going to be awesome to be able to sit here and think back to what people forgot. I can't believe that he even mentions the Browns.
I have them in last place.
They should. They're definitely in last. And they won't definitely be in last place. It's the Steelers. It's the Browns. That's the bottom. This will not be the most competitive division in football. Last season, this was the best division in football. Every team finished with a record above 500. This will not be the case this year.
No way.
That will not be the case this year.
No,
but the Ravens Bengals are the
I think that's going to be the AFC East this year.
Yeah,
except for the Patriots.
We'll get to them in just a second. But here, like Browns, Bengals, Ravens, Steelers, everyone over 500. That's why again over 500. Like Jimmy said, I just can't see that. Jimmy, what do you think of mine here? You got Bengals 1. I can respect that. I just think the Ravens. I still have them number 1. I have you guys 2. I have the Steelers 3, and I have the Browns 4. That's my. I think the Browns get last place. Watson to me, like the Brown. You were in that division last year. The Browns defense was great. Garrett's a beast, but it's very hard defensively always to carry the team like that. And I'm curious if their offense can actually show up and do something. I always question the Browns.
Doesn't take much. Remember what Joe Flacco did with their offense last year? Gosh. Joe Flacco had them in playoff contention and made the playoffs.
They did
like shit in the playoffs. Absolutely got dog walked, but he did get them into the playoffs. And it wasn't necessarily great quarterback play. It just has to be competent. But I don't think Deshaun Watson, now that he has his guaranteed money, he doesn't have the desire, the want to play the same way that he used to. So whenever he gets a little bit nicked up, whenever there's a little bit of discomfort, I see him probably taking a step back, and that's going to be what holds the Browns back because they're going to have to find another patchwork quarterback to get them through the rest of the season because Deshaun's shoulder is injured and we can't extend him to the massage therapist because we know what happens when that happens. So I guess he's just going to have to tough it out.
I'm writing down dog walk, 7th grade, 8th grade. Ready to use that thing for you tomorrow during PE. Brian, what do you think? I had Ravens, Steelers, Bengals, Browns. Jimmy had Bengals, Ravens, Browns, Steelers. What do you got?
I'm gonna go Ravens, Bengals. I'm gonna go Browns, and then the Steelers 4 because they're just. I don't know. I just feel like the Steelers aren't going to get anything from their quarterbacks all year.
It'll be interesting. I want to get to them in just a second with the wild card here. Let's get to the AFC.
Ayuk wanted to go there. Like, what are you thinking, man?
Money.
You want to go?
That's
you
what
want
he's
to go
thinking.
to the Steelers?
They make the
No,
playoffs.
thank
You guys are. They make the playoffs. That's
Did they
what
make the playoffs
do.
last season?
No,
Exactly.
but they always come.
Are they trending to make the playoffs this season? No, exactly. Let's stop talking about the Steelers. We're just wasting our breath.
The East, then, Jimmy. On that note, I'll shut up. AFC East tier predictions. I got Dolphins winning it. Bills second. We'll get into wild cards. I'm not mentioning yet who's there. Bills second. Aaron Rodgers, Jets third quarterback in the AFC, according to Pilato. There, I have him third in the AFC East, and then, sorry, Mr. Darvish, the Drake Mays of the world. They're finishing last this year, the AFC East. So I got that's the list. What do you got, Jimmy?
We have not done this one yet on our show, so I reserve the right to change it. I will not put the Dolphins winning this division because they had the ability to win it. We've already mentioned it. Brian brought it up. They had the game at the very end of the season in Miami, and that was basically a division championship game, and they did not do it. They did not take care of business. I see them being what the Jets were this year. I see Mike McDaniel maybe I don't know if you guys have seen some of the stuff they've done in the offseason, but they're starting everything 24 minutes after the hour because it's been 24 years since they've been able to go in and win a playoff game. So everything starts 24 minutes after the hour. I feel like that's going to get stale. You can't – you're coaching me to get 24 minutes after the hour. Yeah, I'm here, but I'm not coached to win playoff games. I'm not coached to go through any adversity. I love the dude. I don't know if he's a head coach. I think he's a really good play caller. Put that dude up in the box. He's skinny anyways. Like you could tell in that playoff game, he should have been up in the box. He can't be down there in that kind of weather. His bones are going to break. He's too small.
Jimmy, one of my favorite, like the random thing, like time starts is like for baseball is like Chicago White Sox. They used to always start at 7:05, and then they started starting at 7:11. It's because they got sponsored by 7-Eleven. I was always one of my favorite. Like, we're changing the time there for it. Bills, Finns, Jets, and what Brandon, or I think it's Brandon on the account here. It's Buffalo's division lose, St. Louis Sports Network. I don't know. Like I have the Dolphins winning it. Brian, what do you got?
I got Buffalo winning the division, and I got the Jets, Miami, and then the Patriots finishing in last. I mean, the Patriots need to get some receivers for the future because that's their Achilles heel.
They suck at draft. They cannot get receivers. They used to always be able to get receivers. Now they can't get anything. Or maybe Tom made the receivers. But either way,
N'Keal Harry was going to be something. N'Keal Harry out of Arizona State. What Arizona State receiver has done well in a situation where he doesn't have a quarterback to throw to him?
You guys are underrating the Dolphins here a little bit. I'm kind of surprised with Jimmy where you're at with that. Why are you not being a Dolphin?
They lost Christian Wilkins too, so it's not just the fact that they.
But they got Hill. He was voted number 1, top 100. They got
cool. I hope he dusts Noah Lyles in the race when they do finally race in the 50 meters or whatever it's going to be. But that's cool. You will not win playoff games. I
guess Hill yelled at McDaniels in the playoff game and said, "Why aren't you feeding me the ball, or I'm your playmaker?"
Because I don't think that Tua can throw the ball in that kind of weather. That's you don't got the quarter. We don't got the facilities for that, Big Ben.
Jimmy, to answer Josh's question here, what's his nickname again for a reason?
Jiu-jitsu.
There you go. There it is. That's all right. That's how he's been doing, staying healthy here.
Well, 2 hands.
What do you guys think of the wild card then? Okay, so I have the Chiefs, the Texans, the Ravens, and the Dolphins making it as my division winners. Those are the 3. And then you got 3 wild cards that make it along the way. I have the Bills, that I have them making it as the 5 seed. I have the Bengals making it as the 6 seed, and I have the Steelers making it as the 7 seed. So those are the teams I have I just
I don't know, man.
I don't know how they do it. I don't know. I don't know how they do it. They just make it like, and I don't know how they're gonna do it. They're gonna like Patrick Williams and Fields into like 9 to 6 wins. They're gonna figure it out to get enough with W's here. So those are my picks to get into the AFC. Brian, what's your 3 wild cards there?
I'm gonna go the Jets, the Dolphins, and then the Bengals.
Fair. What do you got, Jimmy?
I'm going Ravens, the Jets, and the Chargers will be the wild card teams.
Jim, the slacks, they get in. I like it.
Why not?
I mean, I think that's a good call. I think
he's dragging his offensive alignment around on the sled. You guys seen those videos?
Yes.
He's going to be in shape.
The oddest interview man, but also the funniest at times.
I'm expecting a Nate Scarborough situation where they need like a 4th and 1 QB sneak, and Harbaugh's going to be up in his pads, and he's going to be like, "Hey, I already got cleats on. Why not throw me a helmet? I got this. I got a yard left in me."
That division between those 3 teams, if Rodgers can stay healthy and the quarterbacks can stay healthy, should be a great battle. Though it really could be if they all are healthy. So we'll see.
If all those quarterbacks do what they've tended to do over the last few seasons, that division will be interesting for the opposite reasons. Because think about the backups that they have. If it's a backup show in that division, that goes to the best division to the worst division really quick.
That is a fair point there. We know how that goes.
I just feel like the Jets have got to make the playoffs or Saul is gone.
I think you're right. I think there's no doubt about it. I think he's with it. All right. Comment here, Chiefs. We got Chiefs, Bills, Texans, Bengals, wild card, Ravens, Jets, Steelers. Yeah, kind of all the same.
What is it with the Steelers?
They're magical at times. So
Nobody should be more fearful of the Steelers than I am. But I know I've dealt with Russell Wilson up close and personal in my own backyard.
Fields, he's gonna be maybe a little Fields.
The kick returner? Are you talking about the kick returner?
Unnecessary, Johnson. Unnecessary.
It feels like Fields has no pocket presence at all. He just wants to, as soon as he gets the ball, he wants to run it. It's like you gotta let things.
He has potential. He has
potential. You know what potential does? Potential is good enough to get you fired.
That is definitely true.
Mike Tomlin is going to figure that out. He's going to stop defending Russell Wilson. He's going to stop letting Russell Wilson go to the podium after he gives up 5 sacks because he can't throw over the middle or hit an outlet receiver or figures anything out and be like, "We need to be better. We need to be better." No, we don't need to be better. You need to be better. You got to start running the offense. You got to stop checking into plays that nobody knows. You're bringing plays in from Seattle that nobody's installed. Stop doing that. Somebody needs to sit him down, just smack him across the face. Quit doing high knees on the plane. Sit down, study the playbook so you know what's actually in the damn game plan.
Let's go, Coach Jimmy. Let's go. That's what I'm fired up for right there. That's the speech
over
right
under.
There. Let's go. Talking the gridirons back, Johnson. Let's go.
How many games is Sear going to show up to in Pittsburgh? Over and under.
Right, I'm not betting you 50 push-ups on the Steelers. I know that this year. Hey, can I go back to this top 100 real quick, or top quarterbacks real quick? I forgot to mention. So when they did the top 100, you know how they do the show, right? Top 100 players. This was the AFC quarterbacks that came in from 1. So Jackson was voted how they were voted the best through. Jackson was 1, Mahomes was 2, Allen was 3, Stroud was 4, Tua 5, Burrow 6. Herbert 7, Rodgers 8, Lawrence 9. Obviously, that's a little bit based on the year before how they do that top 100. But I just wanted to throw that out there real quick to people before we kind of moved on to the bonanzas part of the show here with it. Where I'm curious with Jimmy here. Tyler threw this out as a hot take on the show here this week. Was he would rather have Chase than Jefferson? And I was like, whoa, that caught me off guard. I thought Jefferson was automatic. And then I thought, well, let's bring this to the Bengals guy here immediately. What does he got? Would you rather have Jefferson or Chase?
This will sound like I'm being a homer. I will go back all the way to watching that LSU team back in 2019. I've said Jamar Chase was the better option going all the way back to that team. Justin Jefferson is great, and he's a number 1 receiver in his own right. I don't think that you can go wrong choosing either one to be your star receiver. I think that the Vikings have benefited from picking Justin Jefferson. The Bengals obviously benefited from picking Jamar Chase. For me, I think that Jefferson is more of a run past you kind of receiver. Jamar Chase, yes, he can blow by you with his speed. he's got a better understanding of the route tree. He's got a better understanding of finding open space in the field. That is a good part of being a receiver, and especially when you got a quarterback that's trying to use his brain to beat the defense. And I don't necessarily think that Kirk Cousins is a dumb quarterback, but Burrow and Cousins play quarterback differently. Jamar Chase has to be on the same page as his quarterback and know where he needs to find the opening. I think that Justin Jefferson is just a one-trick pony. He's a speed guy. He can catch balls deep. He can go over the top. He's not the route runner. He's not the smart receiver that Jamar Chase is. Again, if the Bengals had Jefferson and somebody else had Chase, not like I'd be sitting here whining and complaining. I still got a really damn good number one receiver. If I'm gonna go fundamentals wise, I'm gonna go Jamar Chase over Justin Jefferson.
Johnson, I think me and you went Jefferson this morning. Are you still staying that way?
Yeah, Jefferson. That sounds like Gunther calling Randy Orton a one-trick pony on Monday Night Raw.
Who's got more team success?
I love it.
Who's been able to benefit their team more?
So
we'll definitely see Jefferson. He's gonna have Darnold as his quarterback the whole year, so we'll see what's up with that.
That's going to be a good case with him. We'll see if Burrow. I mean, Chase had to deal with Burrow hurt last year a little bit too as well. All right, if I say bad quarterback, who comes to your mind first? It could be who's the first.
I almost said Russell Westbrook, Russell Wilson.
Brian, do you have a name that comes to mind?
Quarterback.
Yeah, for me, it's Cody Pickett. It's immediately back to that day with the Niners. Old Washington quarterback. He was drafted by your team. He played there. I remember the Bears game they were at. I think he felt like he threw 5 interceptions against the Bears.
You know what name comes to mind? Jamarcus Russell.
Oh,
that was personal.
Right there, Johnson. All right, I'm going to bring up Jim Drunkenmiller
at the back of his playbook yet, Darren? Did he ever give that $100 back?
They gave the guy a CD. They said, check it out. He said, it has great plays in it. They said, it's blank.
Al Davis said, all I want you to do is to go back and you throw that baby deep. That's all I get. And the funny thing is, the first game on Monday night, he gets a touchdown throwing it like 65 yards, but it does not result in a win. So they get that there. That's a good call. Jimmy, you've had a lot of bad quarterbacks. How about you had John Kitna. He was fine, but you had some Jeff Blakes in the world that weren't always he was good, but he also
the worst in
Achilles
the dark times. I was gonna say, if you bring up Achilles Smith, that's the one because he was the one. He was the number 1 overall pick that was going to change our fortunes. And guess what? We picked number 1 overall again the next year. Back to back, baby.
Who was the running back they drafted too, Brian? Didn't they draft the running back?
Was that Benson?
I thought it was Carter. It was like some out of Penn State in the 90s, right? It was like Kajana Carter.
Kajana Carter.
Yeah, John Carter and Achilles
like
Smith.
Mr.
Are you trying to make me cry?
I am.
Yeah, Mr. Torn ACL.
Josh Edwards, not a Gunther fan, apparently. Here, not a Gunther fan. Heard they're trying. So bad quarterbacks. A couple of them. Rick Meyer comes to mind as a Raiders fan out here. That was it's tough to watch.
Trent Dilfer.
Andrew Walter, Trent Dilfer. Great call.
Remember when the Raiders brought Carson Palmer off the couch?
Yeah.
Carson Palmer for the Raiders is the definition of a bad quarterback. Carson Palmer on the Bengals and Cardinals, he's not bad.
Josh, if you stay with me, I'm going to get up on NFL trivia. Maybe you'll be able to get NFL trivia. We always fun with MLB with it. If you could choose only one Hall of Famer from this past class, who would it be? So you can't choose all of them. It's just from this one. You had Dwight Freeney, Devin Hester, Andre Johnson, Julius Peppers. I mean, these are 5 legit Hall of Famers, like legit.
And none of them have the championship to separate themselves. That's the worst part about it.
Now, Hester has, maybe you could, Freeney has it, but against Hester and the Bears. But
I guess, he was on that Colts team. Okay.
So I'm not sure who you would go there with it, and did Peppers get it on the Packers or no?
I didn't think that he was on that Packers team. I think he was with the Bears. He was on the Bears team that the Packers beat that year in the NFC Championship game.
Oh, Jay Cutler, wake up. What do you have with who do you have there, Johnson? Is it homegrown here?
I'm gonna go Homer and go Patrick Willis.
What a shock!
That's not necessarily a Homer pick. If you know football, Patrick Willis and Ray Lewis, when they were both middle linebackers, that was how middle linebacker needed to be played, especially at that time of the year. That time in football, they couldn't play that now. they would get tossed from every single game that they stepped on the field in. But Patrick Willis is not necessarily a homer pick because he is for sure a Hall of Famer.
And he just played on some really bad teams with the 49ers too.
And he had Jim Harbaugh as his coach. He had to overcome a Harbaugh.
And Singletary was there before that when he was kind of he helped.
Can't win with him. Can't do it.
But I always say him and Bowman as a duo is. I mean, that's as good as it gets.
I forgot about Bowman too. Was Bowman the one in those the Geico commercials with the caveman? Was that?
Yeah, no,
That
that
was
was
a
it.
guy from Washington. That was
LeVar Arrington.
Shoot. No, I can't think of his name now. I'm going to derail us if we keep thinking about it. So let's just.
Andre Johnson, I got to shout him out. I know he's going to get forgotten here a little bit. He was a beast.
Hall of Fame for fights on the field.
Yeah, that as well. Hester, I was looking back when he made it. They had 10 minutes of all his returns. I go, the fact that you're a return man and you could have a 10-minute video highlight is impressive. Like, of just returns, not BS.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's impressive. If you could have a 10-minute video of returns. Like, he was a game changer at that position. He basically helped the Bears get to the Super Bowl that year.
You guys will have a better perspective on this because you got to see more of both of them play. I remember Devin Hester. I don't remember Dante Hall quite as much, but that's the other guy that gets brought up as like just a return specialist.
Yeah, he was a beast.
What was the difference between is there a difference between the two? Is there a reason why Devin Hester in the Hall of Fame as compared to numbers wise? I'm sure we can make that argument, but just watching them as both return specialists, knowing that whenever they touch the ball, it could be an insane touchdown play.
I think for Hester, he does have the record for it, so he did do it longevity wise. He did it. I told you, I think he was the most important player maybe for them getting to the Super Bowl that year. Like he might have been. It was
Sexy Rexy. I thought it was Sexy Rexy.
Brian did buy the jersey, and somehow Brian does have a Bears Grossman jersey on the closet there somehow. So that's always one of my favorite. But I think if you look at some of those ones, you beat the Cardinals on a kick return. That's where you got the all-time rant from Dennis along the way there. So the guy though I would pick is. And I know it might be it's Peppers. Peppers is the guy I would pick.
I was going to say that's my pick too.
And that would be tough. But Freeney also. Who was the guy across from Freeney, Brian? Was it? I can't remember. No, but they both were like a beast. It was Freeney and like I feel like there was another guy across the line from him that was also a beast. But like Hall of Fame possible beast. What do you make of Peppers? And like then we'll move on to the trivia here. Peppers to me. I used him in video games as a defensive end because he was so fast. I could put him at middle linebacker and still rush. That's I think it was Mathis. I think he was the guy. I think it was
there was
the
a
fact
Mathis.
he played basketball.
Robert Mathis, yes, that's who it was.
Robert Mathis. He was a good defense. So between them, they were good at getting sacks.
In 2006, what I'm seeing here, Robert Mathis had 9.5 sacks and Freeney only had 5.5.
Freeney was a beast though too.
But Freeney was getting everything slid to his. So I was thinking about this because it's a lot of defensive players. I love Devin Hester and Andre Johnson, but I was looking at the defensive players specifically. And the guys that I would hate playing, obviously I've talked about Patrick Willis, and as a linebacker and an offensive lineman, that's tough. But like thinking about Julius Peppers, a dude 6'9", 260, has the longest arms known to man playing at that position. I've been in a lot of situations as an offensive lineman where I try to get my hands on somebody and they extend out on me and I look like a little brother, like, hey, just mom told me to, it's my turn. And he's just palming me in the face, like waiting to see which way the running back's going to go. And then he's going to chuck me over to the side. Julius Peppers, if he was on a team that was better than the Panthers, the Bears, if he was on a team better than that for more of his career, Julius Peppers
should have beat the Patriots, though. They should have beat the Patriots. They should have beat them.
They should have.
Yeah, that one always bothers me. They should have won that one for him.
I think Julius Peppers, though, has the resume and just looking at him physicality-wise, that's a guy that I'd want in my Hall of Fame.
God. Yeah, that's a great 5, though, right there. I can't argue with that one. So that's as good as there's no questions there with it. All right, 8. I do this on the 7th inning ones. So I thought I'll bring it to Talking the Gridiron. Here's a little NFL trivia here. Maybe I probably won't do it during the regular season as much because there's the games are live there, but here before it, I thought we'll test a little knowledge here with it. All right, so guys, NFL trivia. Who threw for the second most yards in the NFL last season? You had Tua get 1. Who threw for number 2, the second most yards? If you had to take it, so like I know Tua surprised you a little bit, but
DJ Stroud.
He did not. He was not number 2.
Okay.
Jared Goff.
That boy, you did get Mr. Goff. out of here, Northern California. Jared Goff does get it. Jimmy 1 for 1 on it. Very impressive.
Thank God, pardon my take, went to Detroit for Grit Week.
All right, we got a history one here with it. Which NFL team had the most wins in the 2000s? So that'd be from
definitely got to be the New England Patriots.
It was not the Patriots.
Oh.
They were not. It was not. They had the most in 2010s.
Oh.
So who had the most in the 2000s?
I think Indianapolis.
Jimmy is 2 for 2. Tell your students that you got an A+ on their Brian's. Josh Edwards.
Don't tell my students I got an A+ in this because there's a reason why I have all of this information and I struggle to teach geography.
I did this for IP. I had that for dodgeball. So I go, so let's see. I said, all right, if you guys can name the last 5 MVPs, I'll give you a lollipop. So I throw like the Tootsie Roll or whatever. One of them's like Mahomes. I was like, well, that counts as 2. Ding, ding, right there. They're like, Jackson. I go, that counts as 2. Ding, ding. There you go. You get the other one right there. So you get Mahomes with it. So I was like, who won in 2015? That's the only one they couldn't get from the last 10 years. Was the MVP from 2015. They're all quarterbacks in the last 10 years. So if I said who won the MVP the last 10 years, they said Matt Ryan. I said, nope, that was 2016. They said Peyton Manning. I said, that was the Broncos 2013.
Yeah.
They were all around it. Tom, I said, nope, 2017. Can you get it, Jimmy? 2015 NFL MVP? Can you think to that point?
I'm thinking it's the third quarterback I listed on my list. Is it Aaron Rodgers?
It is not. I'll say this. He made your fan base very happy.
My fan base.
Not necessarily your fan base. Your state.
Where I live.
Denver's fan base. Let's put that in particular. He might have made them a very happy man. Anyway, Brian, can you name it? 2015 NFL MVP from the NFC. And also, he does a podcast where his hair is ridiculous sometimes along the way.
Cam Newton.
Cam Newton is the guy. He was the hardest one.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. He was the hardest one to get.
I was thinking like that was the Broncos Super Bowl year. That always gets brought up. I was like, wait a second. They were playing the number one offense in the league that year.
That was when the Denver cornerbacks call him a one-trick pony.
That's what
and he ended up being one. That was the biggest one trick. Oh shit! Look, here comes Debo. Hide your chain. Hide your stuff.
We got everything there, Debo. And that's where who was the defensive end? That's a beast. There, he became a star that Super Bowl. Vaughn, yeah, he became a star there. All right, hey Jimmy, I didn't have you prepared for this one, so if you want to think one off the top of your head afterwards, you can. If not, just pass it through here. I got it. And Brian, you're the same. But winner of the week for our program, I got preseason is over. Brian, I know you think you had the same thing. I just want to give everybody an update that's really focused here, just really focused on the preseason. Brian, are the Patriots still up 7-0? I mean, this is breaking news, right?
Yeah, so, they are.
7-3 now. It's 7-3. So we have breaking news. 7-3. Patriots still up. So to me, Jimmy, that's a winner of the week. If the preseason's over, we got real football on the way here.
Obviously, I'm excited for real football. My team gets kicked off on Saturday. My little guys that I'm coaching. I think that the winner that I'm going to pick for the preseason is Sean Payton because he made a lot last year. Like there was a lot that he said that he probably shouldn't have said as early as he did. He hasn't necessarily come out with a victory lap, so to say. But I would say so far with what his team has shown, the practices, they've won the practices. They've won the preseason games. They're taking everything seriously. They look like a professional organization for the first time since I'll say 6 years. I'll give them 6 years. First time in 6 years that this looks like a professional organization with an adult at the head of their organization. I think that this year the Broncos will be surprising, not necessarily predicting playoffs, predicting that when I go to Cincinnati and watch the Broncos play at Paycor Stadium, I'm going to be way more nervous than I was before I saw any of these preseason games because the Broncos look like they'll at least be a tougher out than maybe they did at the beginning of the year.
That's a good call there. Sean Payton, winner of the week. I can respect that. Brian, you still preseason's over. You got a different one for me.
Yeah, I'm just going to say the running back from the Raiders, McKinnon. He has definitely been the
we could use a running back. We could use somebody that does something.
You guys, if you could get somebody like 90, tough, strong Josh Jacobs like.
Oh, yeah, we could use that. We need that. That's going to offset it to help as I always like to call him, Gordon Minshew, because of
if you got that guy in the organization, you can't let him walk, can you, Darren?
No, we cannot let him walk. You sign him. You make sure you get him on the roster there with it. Do you have a loser of the week somehow, Jimmy? Like somehow with football, is there any? The Bengals seem to have a lot of injuries. That offensive line I've been noticing. When you've been
my loser of the week ties back into our episode. It's Sean McVay coaching tree coaches. You guys make preseason unbearable. You're the reason why preseason is no longer going to be a thing. You're the reason why nobody plays, and it's all the McVay coaching tree coaches. It's Bengals, it's the Rams, it's the flipping Packers.
The Niners played Purdy. They played Purdy last week.
Yeah, no, and that's not a McVay coaching tree.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm not classifying that as McVay coaching tree, but
all right, that's fair.
Watched the game that I saw the Broncos play against the Packers grocery squad. Was the nail in the coffin for me. I can't stand it.
Brian, you got a loser of the week there with it?
If I had to go with the loser of the week, I would say I'm gonna go with the Philadelphia Eagles again. I just think they're overly arrogant and they're overhyped, and I hope they go trash in the second half again and their coach gets fired and they bring Bill Belichick in.
Brian, can I give you my Kyler McKay's daddy? Kyle's McKay. Can I give you your boy who you were loving last year, Big Trey, as a loser of the week here? When he had 5 interceptions in the let's just add a little fire to it here.
Pressure comes. Lance Fields.
Oh no!
What a play! Trayvon Morris press. It's good.
Hey, touchdown pass.
Touchdown pass.
I have to agree with Tyler. I have to agree with Tyler. He's the new age Achilles Smith.
Oh man! I thank goodness
I don't even care. That hurts, but I watched this game live yesterday. I don't even know why. I was getting ready for the concert that I was going to, and I was like, "Oh, what? Well, why not? It's football. I'll put football on." Trey Lance doesn't play football.
Oh my! No, that was bad, Jimmy. That's as bad as it gets right there.
I was dead wrong. I was dead wrong on him.
Yes, you were. Sorry, Brian. You were a little bit dead wrong.
We all said that, Brian. We've gone back. We re-released a couple episodes of our show, and the ones that came out right around the time that the Avalanche won the Cup are also the times that Russell Wilson was signing here in Denver. And I can't tell you how many minutes of audio I have of Nico and I just being like, Denver gets all the best athletes. Peyton Manning, Russell Wilson's going to be the next great one. Russell Wilson's going to lead us to this many Super Bowls. I have so much audio that I can't use. And I re-release it, and I'm like, wow.
Delete.
No, I'm not deleting it. I'm just re-releasing it, being like, see, I am an idiot. This is why you should listen to me, because I'm dumb. I say some dumb stuff.
That's my favorite part about looking back at old photos when I don't have anything on the back in my background. I have like one thing, and then you can see over the years it gets added over and over, like what we added to the background here with it. All right,
that's why when I say things that I say in Kyle Shanahan, I trust.
And Kyle Shanahan, we do trust. We do that with it. Brian, before we get out of here, I want to give up a little offensive lineman love to Jimmy here with it. Talking that Gridiron Season 3 is a return. Patriots were losing to the Packers here on Sunday night, but let's get it out.
Patriots find themselves pretty shockingly down at home, seemingly, and it's 17-7.
Oh, yeah, when he returned it.
Look at that ball security. Breaks into the open field. He knows exactly what he's doing there.
Come on, big man. Come on.
No, you know what he's thinking in his mind there? He's like, I'm setting up Tom Brady with a short-ass field.
That's one of my favorite videos ever, Jimmy. I just love that video of him rumbling, stumbling up the field there. Like,
Jared, you've seen the replacements, haven't you?
Yes, definitely. Many times, yeah.
Holy shit. Let's haul ass, fat boy. Let's go.
Let's go right now. I love that movie. I have to watch that. It's been at least 8 years since I've seen that one. That's a long time.
My coach in the game
Reeves tackled him, right?
Yeah, he does.
No, that was Bateman. When Bateman tried to pick up the kick, he's like, "You're using up the clock, Daddy." And also, why do you have your quarterback on the hands team on kickoff return? There's a lot of that movie that I'm like, what?
Well, Gene
how
Hackman.
How did we get to the score 24-17?
Gene Hackman was,
yeah, no, my coach in college football is Jimmy McGinty. That's who my coach is.
That's funny. Gene, like I said, that Jimmy McGinty, he really was the coach there? Oh, nice.
No, that's my coach.
Yeah, that guy.
I made him in the game. That's my coach. Yes.
That's it. I get it. That's funny. That's hilarious. All right. So talking the Gridiron here, season 3, episode 1. We're getting started here with it. Brian, thanks for jumping on this week. Next week, we'll get into NFC predictions, NFC quarterbacks, NFC, and then we'll kind
I
of give
guess
our.
they kind of play football over there in that conference. The AFC is the better one.
That's me and Jimmy will definitely defend that. Brian, you'll have to bring it a little tougher here next week on the NFC side of things.
I can't say anything because his Bengals whooped our ass in Levi. So
that is true. It will Levi's. They did whip your ass. It will. Will did. I'm going to call it Will.
Mayonnaise Stadium.
Will Levi's whipped your ass last year. That's what we're going to call it. Maybe we get somebody, an NFC guy, in to help you here to even out the score here a little bit along the way. We'll see if Jordan is going to jump on as well. But Brian, thanks for jumping on this week on Talking the Gridiron. Jimmy Pilato, season 3. Like I said, pretty crazy. That's well, let's do the math. Over 700 days, me and you have kind of at least done a pod together here. Pretty cool that me and you have been able to kind of start season 3 here a little bit along the way. I look forward to the journey that we're going to make along the football season. And thanks for your insight on the top 15. Letting us play off it. Letting us rip on it a little bit here. Be the star of the show. So
I defended all my points. I don't think that there's any holes in my list.
I appreciate it. I was like, well, I'm going to use Jimmy's list as the gun shooter here this week. So no, it was fun, man. I always, it's been a while since we've done a show together, but like I said, coming on, I always appreciate your stuff. So to me, I look forward to do another year here with you.
Hell yeah.
All right. So for Jimmy Pilato, for Brian, the main man Johnson here, we'll see you guys next Sunday for a little NFC prediction here, a little NFC quarterback talk. We'll get into some other things on the NFC side there. And maybe we'll throw in those Super Bowl talks there before the season kicks off that Thursday. So we'll see you guys next Sunday, same time. Peace.